it going, everybody? Good morning. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Jackie?
I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
I am Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
And it's your boy Chris. Find me everywhere at CK2K.
All right, you guys. So let's talk about some of the things we're going to be going over today. We have a lot of LeBron news. Jackie, I'm sure you're happy about that.
Always.
I'm happy about it too. He talked about what he is expecting and what he hopes to will happen with the league suspension and when the games will be coming back. He also commented on his handshakes and then kind of went back on it a little bit, so we'll get into that too. The NBA may, the NBA's top executives are taking a pay cut, so this is sort of what happened with the Sixers, although in a much better form, and I'm excited to hear what you all think about it. And then also a potential finals location has been discussed and possibly decided upon. It's not official yet. This is speculation as of right now, but we're going to be filling you in on all of that. What do we have coming up for the post-up?
We got Thanos and Giannis put together. We got a Giannis update on the whole Giannis to Lakers conspiracies that we've been forming. We also got a Victor Oladipo concert. I'll explain that later. And quite a few other things. Dodgers news right after, Britt. Talking about Dodgers yesterday. We got some more Dodgers news from today. We got quite a few things in post-up coming up later.
And how about for WTF?
We have some doctor talking about when we might get some sports back. And, of course, we have a little bit more LeBron James. So, do you have to say it like that?
Well, basically, it's a good day for Jackie. And then, Britt, any hints you want to drop us for Britt's?
We are talking football today. That's my favorite sport, and we will be talking some football today, which is exciting. No coronavirus for once. And with that, I kind of wanted to start with a little bit of filler for you guys. Tyrod Taylor just posted some videos and pictures working out with Cam Newton, which is obviously creating more speculation of what we were talking about yesterday about Cam Newton possibly going to the Chargers. What do you guys think?
I saw that picture and almost fell out my chair with excitement. I was like, let's get it. Let's do this. I'm excited. I think it's going to happen, but I'm trying not to get too anxious, but, fingers crossed.
I feel like this will happen too. I think that this is definitely a kind of a look into the future. I see Cam going to the Chargers more than the Patriots. I don't really know why. That's just how I feel. So I think it's exciting, and I hope it does work out for him.
Yeah, like before he got drafted, he did a lot of his training in San Diego back in the day. So I could see him coming back here and, finishing it out.
Yeah, see, I wasn't a fan of it when he had to be traded because I was just like, man, Chargers got a lot to give up. But now that he's a free agent, like I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? They'll compete against each other, and you got a starting quarterback either way. So I'm all for it. I hope it happens.
And we'll also we're not going to highlight this part because then it messes up our theory a little bit. But Deshaun Watson was also at the workout, working out with them a little bit. So maybe he ends up with Houston.
Right. Hey, that's true.
Maybe just three guys working out together. Yeah. Who knows? But obviously everybody is kind of like, yes, the Tyrod Taylor and Cam Newton thing. They are already buddies. They work well together. Why not have them be quarterback team together, a little tandem there?
And I know we don't have a picture, but I love in the picture, too, you can see there's the distance between them. I don't know if that was intentional, but it was kind of pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty funny. They're still working out, but there's that distance in between. That was pretty funny.
Yep.
You have to when you're posting on social media, because you're going to be like, you guys are not supposed to be around each other. You're supposed to be social distancing and yada, yada.
Yeah. Like, even if you're side by side, you have to edit it to make it look like you're far apart.
Right.
The people on social media are getting savage, calling each other out for being too close to one another. I've noticed, and I understand why everyone's doing it, but people are really, they're becoming warriors for the social distancing movement.
Even I know some football player or whatever. He goes to Chipotle every day. He's actually been on the Fumble before. Keith Smith. I saw his Instagram the other day. He was went to Chipotle, and they had the X's where people could stand of 6 feet apart. Like, everywhere has that now. So it's like, we're letting you guys know exactly what 6 feet is. So make sure you walk to your next X and stay there.
That is hilarious.
Line to get inside Trader Joe's for 45 minutes yesterday, and they had those lines all around the block. I was not expecting the line to be that long to get in. I didn't think I'd be standing there in the windy, freezing cold for so long, but once I was in the line, I was like,
doing a lot though. Their lines are ridiculous. They're doing it like a club. Like, we're gonna let a bunch of people in and make y'all wait. Everybody else's lines go so much smoother. Trader Joe's like, nah, we want y'all to feel like that's where you need to be.
Yeah, Gelson's and Whole Foods keep not even having lines. Every time I pass by there, they don't ever have a line. So
I went to
it's a little more expensive, but you ain't got to wait in that line.
Right.
The Whole Foods is walking distance from my apartment, so I went there first yesterday, and it was like a post-apocalyptic war zone. Like, it was terrifying in there. Everyone seemed so sick. Everything was gone. And then I went to Trader Joe's. I had to wait 45 minutes, but it was actually like, it was fully stocked. People were happy. No one seemed ill. It was a very weird contrast.
Sick people store, healthy people store.
While we're on the subject of coronavirus, one thing that I did want to mention really quickly is that Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell have been cleared, so that's good. They were the first basketball players to be diagnosed with the virus, so I'm happy to know that they're healthy and hopefully feeling better, so good for them. There's somebody else.
Yeah, Marcus Smart is supposed to be cleared on Saturday, so he has one more day and then he'll be cleared as well, and he posted on his Instagram live or IG story yesterday of him suited and booted in like a tracksuit and stuff, and said that he was feeling good, and from the reports I've heard, he's going to be cleared on Saturday, so that's a good thing too.
Yeah, and we also didn't talk about it, but Christian Wood too, earlier in the week, he was cleared too. Bleacher Report reported that too, so it's pretty cool, man. It's good. It's good to hear that. It's good news.
Very good. Okay, let's jump in, you guys. Let's start off with LeBron. So he discussed the issues facing the NBA if they tried to resume the 2019-2020 season later this year on the Road Trippin' podcast. He seems very skeptical. I have to say, I was surprised by his skepticism. He questioned how things would work if athletes test positive for the coronavirus. He said, quote, "So what happens when a guy who's tested positive for corona and you're out there on the floor with him and it's a loose ball?" So this thought was a little confusing to me because I don't think they would allow athletes out to go play if they were testing positive for coronavirus, so I'm not sure where that's coming from.
It was a very ignorant comment, yes.
Pretty much.
He also expressed that he's not in love with the idea of playing without fans, which we knew that from the get-go, but he elaborated on it even more and said, "What is the word sport without fan? There's no excitement, there's no crying, there's no joy, there's no back and forth, there's no rhyme or reason that you want to go on the road and just dethrone the home team because of their fans and vice versa. Like, that's what's bringing the competitive side out of players, to know that you're going on the road in a hostile environment, and yes, you're playing against the opponent in front of you, but you really want to kick the fans' ass too." He said he would prefer to just go to a team's practice facility and live stream a game as opposed to playing in a fanless arena, which I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. I think being in that empty arena probably would feel a little weird. He also doesn't like the thought of jumping into the playoffs. Instead, he thinks that there should be a regular season schedule of 5 to 10 games so that everybody has the chance to qualify for the playoffs. And then he ended that by saying the hiatus has been really bad for his body. He said, quote, "My body when we stopped playing was like, what the hell are you doing?" Says he's been training and staying ready, but he went from being in like activated playoff mode to now not being able to play basketball the way he was. So let's discuss this first. Jackie, I know that you're a big LeBron fan, so what do you think about all of the thoughts that he expressed, playing without fans, playing against potential coronavirus positive athletes? Do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, anyone who's played any competitive sport, you know he's right about the fan thing, because you know there's nothing better than doing something dramatic, especially when fans are cheering and you're on an away game especially, and you can shut the whole crowd up. That's like the highlight of playing, so he's absolutely right with that. his comment about, oh, what if someone is tested positive for the coronavirus and then there's a loose ball, that was ignorant in itself, because you say, okay, once they're cleared of it, they're not going to be,
Right.
they're not going to be contagious. But the thing is that's human nature too. We remember when Magic was diagnosed with HIV, and the whole world was like, oh, he can't play because he's going to pass it to the entire league, because there was just a certain amount of ignorance that came with that disease. We know a lot more now, but especially with this coronavirus, we've seen so many conspiracy theories. People are like, everybody can get it, nobody can get it, everybody's wearing masks, even though there's tons of stuff that comes out that says, unless it's like tight fitting to your mouth, which I haven't seen anybody wear, it doesn't work anyway. So there's a lot of ignorance just surrounding this whole thing, so I'm not mad at him about that. But I definitely agree with him on the let's go to practice facilities, because that's a different kind of thing, and it just makes it, they're used to that environment, and that's not an environment that they're used to seeing fans. So I think mentally they could make that transition. So I love that idea as well. But as a person who has worked out and then stopped, I understand what he's saying, because it's very difficult for me to start again. Clearly, I've been talking about this for a while, so I know.
I love that every day we get an update from Jackie about her exercise life.
I'm trying really hard here, y'all.
Britt, I feel like you have something to say about LeBron's comments. Why don't you tell us?
Well, like we talked about yesterday with Steven Jackson, when you have a platform and people listen to you, I think you need to be very careful on the things that you say. So saying the comment, yes, we have all said ignorant things, but I think he should have not said that at all. Like, say less, LeBron, because that's like, you don't want like the whole world being like, oh my gosh, you had coronavirus, don't ever touch me again. Like, you can't do that. Once you have it and it's passed, you don't have it anymore. Like, you actually become, they're currently working on things thinking that you become immune to it and you can't get it. Same like with the chicken pox is what they're thinking this is. Obviously that is not like for sure yet. They don't know, they're still testing that, but like, you can't say, oh, I'm not going to touch somebody because, or I'm not going to go for a loose ball because they have cooties. Like, that was a very ignorant thing to say in a place where everybody listens to you. You're LeBron James. You are currently the greatest basketball player out right now, and everybody's going to hear what you're saying. And now they are not going to want to associate with people who have the coronavirus because, or have had the coronavirus, because they think that they're like a cootie person or something. I don't even know. Like, I thought that was silly to say. As far as like, I don't know why he continues to do this to himself, because prior to them canceling or postponing the season, he said that he was not going to play if there were no fans in the stands. And then a couple days later, he had to come back and say, okay, well, I will play. I just said I didn't want to play. And he's doing that again. He's saying, oh, well, if this is this, I'm not going to do that, and I don't want to do this. Like, stop saying that. Like, you're going to go out there and play basketball. If you don't play, nobody's going to care, because that gives us a better chance to win anyway. As far as him and his body, Stephen A. Smith was talking about it today, that the break has actually extremely benefited the Clippers, which we have gone through moments of like trying to heal our players and have them rest games because Kawhi and Paul George have had like nagging injuries, and this break is going to be great for us. As far as with LeBron James, because he is an older player, he needs to stay going the whole time, because if he does stop, then his body breaks down, like he explained. So obviously, this is a negative thing for him going, like having this break, because he's an older player. But for guys that needed the rest because of nagging injuries, like my Clippers, this is great for us. So I think this does actually give us an advantage over the Lakers. So I think he was correct in saying that.
Chris, you've been quiet. So what do you think about the way he said the hiatus has been bad for his body? Are you surprised to hear that a guy who spends $1 million a year is having trouble maintaining his athleticism during this break?
No, makes complete sense, especially at his age. It makes complete sense. Playing basketball, and when you know that you have the certain amount of time that you're playing the sport, especially at the level that they play it at, and then you just stop right in the middle of that when your body, especially for him, that's probably taking a little bit longer to warm up to get to that form that he felt like he was at. It makes sense. It's just making a comment on that, and I understand what he's trying to say about that. Yeah, the comments were ignorant, but at the same time, with to piggyback off of what Britt said about him flip flopping a lot on his opinion, I think all that showed was that he always felt the way he felt, and he, as we all thought, he was forced to say, you know what, no, I wouldn't mind playing, it's fine. We know that he felt the same way the entire time. He does not want to play in front of fans, and him saying it again for this second time only reiterates that point. Yeah, everything else was ignorant. I didn't take it too serious, but it's to the point where it's the same thing. It's like, bro, you know, the stage that you're on, say less. Like, I get that's how you feel, but this isn't the spot you should be saying that. And lastly, on his comment, the practice, like playing in like the practice gym and stuff like that, I love that idea. I feel like we'd get a better product from that. If they're trying to play actual games than if they were playing in empty Staples Center, empty Madison Square Gardens. I think you'd get better if they're playing in a confined area where you'll hear the other bench talking smack. You hear, you know, we'll be gassing, the team will be gassing each other up. You'll get a way more competitive game that way than if you're playing in an empty gym where it's going to be echoes and stuff like that. So I think that'd be an idea that they should think about.
And with that, too, actually to say with Chris, because before the show aired today, we were kind of just talking amongst ourselves, and Jackie had mentioned Staples Center is actually going to be used as a place to put beds right now. So they're going to have beds and stuff there. So I would rather utilize that for that than have players go play in an empty arena where they could be using that space for something more important right now. So yeah, like their practice facilities, Lakers and Clippers practice facilities right up the street from each other. So
and they're nice.
They don't have to go very far. Yeah, and they're very nice.
So we'll be watching regardless. So yeah.
Dark Matter in the chat, real quick. He said, "You're still a carrier even after you get over it, fam." And I'm like, I don't know if that's true because I don't know if you're a doctor, Dark Matter, but
they wouldn't clear the players then if that was the case.
But I think that is the kind of narrative, because that's not the first time I've seen something like that. And so I think that's where we're at with this virus. Just like we were with the HIV. People didn't want to touch people because they thought they could get it if they blinked. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. And I think, unfortunately, that's the narrative with this virus. And the more deaths we see with this, the more that fear factor is going to set in. So while I do think it's an ignorant comment, I think that it's not going to be the last comment like that we hear, because people are scared right now.
Well, he also did say another thing that kind of echoes the sentiment that he had about, you know, being nervous playing against people who've tested positive or whatever. He said that he is no longer going to be doing handshakes. So he's known for those intricate handshakes. They're all personalized with every single teammate that he has. It's like his thing. And he said, I ain't high-fiving nobody for the rest of my life after this ish. No more high-fiving after this corona ish. Wait till you see me and my teammates handshakes after this ish. So people were all up in arms, oh, the handshakes, we're going to miss the handshakes. But then he later admitted that it was a joke. He said, quote, I hope you all know that was a joke. But for real, strangers and folks I barely know, get the fist bump. So if you're a fan and you want a handshake or a high five from LeBron James, that's not going to happen anymore.
You remember the team that did this is where we got this at. Yeah. So that was a good handshake. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I have to admit, going forward, I'm going to be so much more aware of what I'm naturally a very clean kind of OCD person with germs and stuff, but I'm going to be so much more strict about that, I feel like, moving forward.
I just hope everyone keeps this energy and continues to always wash their hands now and continues to cover your mouth when you cough, because I see a lot of people just all the time, and it grosses me out. And then people are so like, oh my gosh, I have to wash my hands. Like, were you not washing your hands before? Like, what is happening? So I hope these are two things that stay with us moving forward, even after this coronavirus thing. Y'all cover your mouth and y'all wash your hands.
And I'm seeing tweets and people talking about, oh, my hands have never been this dry before. I'm like, oh, because you've never been washing your hands before. Huh? That's what I'm learning from you, even saying that out loud and on the internet. It's crazy. It's crazy. I really hope the same thing.
Your Knicks boy, Taj Gibson, posted this clip, and it was like his hand, now that he's washed it 56 times a day for 20 seconds, and it's like this skeleton hand.
Terminator,
yeah. That was funny.
Tyler Perry posted one too, and his hand was literally looked like he dipped it in flour, because he's like, I'm washing my hands so much, my hand's ashy now. And I'm like,
just now?
Just now, right? Come on, man.
Okay, let's jump into our next story. So, Woj reported that 100 of the NBA's top earning executives from around the world will have their salaries cut by 20%. So Mike Bass said, quote, "These are unprecedented times, and we need to take short-term steps to deal with the harsh economic impact on our business and organization." Adam Silver is actually one of the people who is having his pay. Oh my gosh, Ricardo just gave us $40. He says, "Good morning, Fumble. Thank you guys and ladies for keeping us up to date with all the sports and information with the coronavirus. You all do a great job. Thank you. Keep safe. P.S. Britt, still waiting on the opportunity to take you out."
Go ahead, Ricardo.
That's a $40 shot right there.
Hey.
Thank you, Ricardo. Very nice. Okay, so back to the story. The Washington Post reported that the NBA could lose $1 billion in revenue if the rest of the season and playoffs are canceled. So we saw the 76ers try and do this when they wanted to cut the lowest earning employees' salaries by 20%, or people who make $50,000 or more, which is low. And now we're seeing the NBA react in a similar way, but they're actually going about it the right way and cutting the people at the top. It sucks that anybody has to have their salary cut, but if it's going to be somebody, let it be the people that are earning a ton of money. So, Chris, can you start off and tell me what you think about this, the way they're dealing with the lack of revenue coming in right now?
I honestly think that we all saw this coming. I mean, it was inevitable in my opinion. That's why I feel like what happened with the 76ers happened, because they knew that they were going to be losing money from the top. So then they're trying to, cut the losses by, cutting the people that aren't working right now in their minds and stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel like we kind of saw this coming because, I mean, it only makes sense because they're not really getting much revenue right now with no sports or anything being played within their, gyms and organizations. So, but yeah, I agree. Good. It should be coming up there, so I have no complaints. But I feel like they saw it coming, though. I think they were aware. Yeah.
Britt, do you have anything to say about this?
No.
It's like it should happen.
Yay. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if you're going to cut anybody, cut the people at the top. They're 20%. But other than that, I have nothing else to say. I'm glad Adam Silver took a cut as well, as he should have done. Yes. And that's why he is the MVP of commissioners. Commissioners.
See, I like
that.
Not the league?
Commissioners. Okay?
Not the league?
She said what she said, Chris.
Dang, all right, let me let Inez know.
Jackie, do you think that this was the best way they could have handled it? Do you have any other ideas as to what they could have done to make up for any of this?
No, I mean, that's the thing. Everybody across the country, and when we're talking about big corporations, they're going to have to make cuts because cuts are coming. People are losing their jobs right now, and so it has to come from the top. You can't cut the tree off at the bottom, and the whole tree will fall down. So it has to come from the top. So that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah. And of course, the people at the top are going to feel that 20% cut way less than anybody at the bottom.
Exactly.
On the NBA. Okay, let's jump into the final need-to-know news stories for the day. So NBA executives believe that Las Vegas is the best place to resume the 2019-2020 season. If the NBA does return, team executives told CNBC they favored Las Vegas as a possible location to conclude the season, and media experts agreed, adding the decision could help the NBA retain some of its revenue domestically and perhaps in China. So we may have a finals location. I don't really have any specific questions about this story in particular, but I do think it's a little bit comforting that they are discussing locations for the finals, and they're not kind of putting that on the back burner for now with the expectation that they're just not going to resume the season. So anyone have any thoughts about this? Britt?
So, yeah, this clearly, if they're looking at something like this, because this is not the NCAA tournament, so teams for the NBA have their games in their cities. So this must mean that they are, all the way through playoffs, are not going to have any fans in the stands, because I know I've been waiting for my Clippers to play in the playoffs this season so I could go to the games and watch them play. And then, obviously, if we were going to match up with the the Lakers at some point, we would have a whole 7-game series.
Like she forgot who we were.
That other team. What's that other team? What's that other team?
That guy that what's his name again?
Lord.
But if we were going to play the Lakers, I was looking forward to the whole 7-game series being in LA. That would have been great for Los Angeles, So this actually kind of makes me sad because this means not only just we're going to try to start the season off again with, slowly going into, not having fans to start, but all the way into the NBA Finals, you're looking to not have fans play or not have fans in attendance, which would be really sad. So yeah. I hope this isn't the case. I don't know why they're looking at locations. I don't know why the series wouldn't just still be played. I guess they would want to just keep the players in one place the whole entire time like they would do for the NCAA tournament. Obviously, they have the Western Conference, whatever, and then they have the Final Four and then the championship in one location. So I guess they're trying to do it NCAA style. I don't know. I'm not 100% for this, but if it means we get games, I guess I'll be
I feel like that is what they're trying to do. But my thing is, though, that's the finals, and we're going to have other series that would be they're still traveling, they're still playing at other places. So then why just do the...
Then.
Right, exactly. That's my only thing about it. But the big thing is, if there's basketball being played, I'm cool with it. I mean, obviously there wouldn't be any fans regardless, but I'm just confused why it's just the finals when it's down to just two teams when we're having a bunch of other series that they'll still be traveling, still be going from one place to the next. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand the point yet.
Yeah, unless they were thinking of having the whole thing in Vegas. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, see, and that was my question, because I kind of took it as, okay, maybe I have a friend that works in Vegas, and she's calling it Dark Vegas right now, because she says there's nobody there. So there was a part of me that was like, okay, are they just doing this to kind of jolt that economy and, send all the tourists and stuff back over there? It didn't really make sense to me, because, like you said, the whole purpose of me being excited of us winning the Battle of L.A. was that it was going to be here in L.A.
And
I made sure to say that.
I will cry if the Clippers win their first championship in franchise history, and I can't go to no damn parade. I will cry.
Oh,
I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about that.
I cannot have this happen. I cannot.
That would be so sad.
No.
Oh,
but if we win, you can come to our parade. Me and Devin, you can come with us to our parade.
Who's going to that parade? Man, they're going to be driving some closed buses.
The Lakers can't have a parade either. It's this
right. They're going to be driving some closed buses through an empty LA. That's what they're going to be doing.
Did you say closed buses?
Yeah, nobody on top of... they all inside the buses waving in the windows, and nobody going to be in the streets.
Right. Long train of cars following like a funeral or something. Like this train of cars and just the bus all around the outside of Los Angeles. I don't know.
All the cameras zooming in on the players like, hey guys,
and then J.R. Smith will be like there in spirit and be like, I forgot I'm not part of this team. I'm on the top of the bus by myself.
No shirt on. Gotta be no
shirt. With some Hennessy.
Oh, God. Well, that wraps up Need to Know News. So, Chris, I'm handing it to you.
Oh, is it time for Post Up? It's your boy Chris, Quarantine Edition. All right. So yesterday we talked about Giannis Antetokounmpo being floored when his girlfriend revealed that she was a childhood Laker fan, and I was, there were some responses saying that, oh, Giannis to LA. Well, Giannis didn't really help the issue when he went live and answered his top top 6 players of all time. It was innocent because he just named his players, and I'll let Giannis say it before I go into why this conspiracy continues. Take it away, Giannis.
Who's the greatest player of all time? Because only for you to be up there, it's a freaking honor. So I'll probably say I'll put 5 guys. What? I'll put 5 guys like tier 1: LeBron, MJ, Kobe, Magic. 6 guys. Shaq for me was out there too.
You didn't think of Kareem.
And him. That's what I was about to say.
I'm in your head.
Yes, you're in my head. So 6.
Yeah, so innocent list. He said LeBron, MJ, Kobe, Magic, Shaq, and then Mariah brought in Kareem, and he's like, yeah, Kareem. So my top 6, right? So I'm gonna leave it to you guys. 6 names. 5 of those names played for one team. Can we all name what that team was?
Lakers.
So the conspiracies continued because on Twitter. It's not, but Twitter rode with it. They're like, huh? Oh, Lakers? It's not his fault that a lot of of the great players in the league's history were Lakers. So of course he's gonna name these names, but that didn't stop Twitter. Now I ask again to Devin and Jackie for the second day in a row: is this confirming Giannis to Lakers?
No, nothing is confirming anything.
Right,
but I like the thought, but can I say this? I like his list and the order of it.
Okay, MJ was second.
Yep.
I see. Oh, that's another conversation that I'm not going to get into because I don't think he was naming in order. But all right, I'll let Jackie have that.
No, but
Here's
I take
what
it out
I
with Jackie.
I don't think these statements alone are confirming that Giannis is going to the Lakers. I do feel that it is inevitable, though. I think that it's going to happen eventually.
There it is. We have our first Devin take. There it is.
I think that just maybe as a child, he was probably also a Laker fan. Like
most
he
people.
probably was a Laker fan. So that's just what it is. I really want to point out, what the hell was that in the background? Like, he had, like, a fan that had, like, serving utensils on it or something. Yeah, I don't even know what the hell that was, but I couldn't stop staring at that. I wasn't even worried about
Didn't even hear what he said.
Yeah.
Well, there it is. So they're not completely won over by the conspiracies, but in the words of Devin Howard, she says, him going to the Lakers is inevitable. So we'll see in 2 years. All right, moving on to the next one. We got Victor Oladipo. We were talking about it. These actually it was pre-show, so you guys can hear. We were talking about all these online concerts on Hygiene and stuff. Well, NBA is jumping on the bandwagon. They're getting their own singer, Victor Oladipo,
So
or for those who know, Thingamajig, to host a concert on the NBA's IG page. Actually, right as soon as this is done, it's gonna be at noon today, and they'll be doing a little concert, and there's gonna be special guests. They didn't say who the special guests are, but are you guys tuning in?
Duh, he has a song with Eric Bellinger.
Right, it has to be Trey Songz. Like, get the boys on it. Yes.
I'm so ready. I'm like, when we were talking about before, because John B's been doing a concert too. Some of y'all are too young for that, but John B is like my guy. But like Victor is like, he can blow. Like he can really sing. Like, so talented.
Yeah,
I will be tuning in.
I will be watching the highlights. Are you guys watching?
You're not gonna watch the whole thing?
I'll watch the first 5 minutes before I go live on my own channel. So
there you go.
See, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I just wish it was like, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be on Twitter. Somebody like restreaming or something. Because I gotta edit, and I'm not gonna have my phone while I'm editing. If it was on the computer, it'd be easier for me.
There's gonna be highlights of it, like whoever comes out, special guests or whatever. I'm sure they're gonna put it on rotation, so you don't just watch it live. You can watch it for the next 24 hours. But
I just need to see if he does a duet with Nicole Scherzinger to see if maybe they're hooking up, so I can start that rumor. That'd be a great rumor.
All right, on to the next one. We have some WNBA news. You guys know the Oregon great Sabrina Ionescu, who is most likely going to go into this draft as the number 1 overall pick. Well, ESPN did announce that they were still going to be having the draft. It's going to be happening April 17th. But then Sabrina saw this tweet, and then she tried to sprinkle her magic on the announcement by saying, that should be on ESPN, but that's just my opinion. Well, within 20 minutes, ESPN then added another tweet saying that they would, in fact, be airing the draft. Now, my question to you guys is this the magic of Sabrina, or was it just a coincidence?
It's not a coincidence. It's a little bit of magic mixed with a little bit of coronavirus, so we don't have anything else to show. So ESPN's like, oh, we probably... Their original scheduling was probably to air it on ESPN2 originally, so they just had that up, and then they're like, oh, wait, but we actually don't have nothing else to show, so why not show this?
So why did they have that thought originally? That's my question. Like, they should have known that.
Come on, like
It's you're right. I'm sorry.
Really,
You're right.
Chris? Really?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm giving them too much credit. You are so right. I'm sorry. I said it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
Care about women's sports
You're right.
in
I'm
America?
sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
Never that. We just heard about what happened to the women's soccer team. You really think they were just naturally going to try to boost the WNBA up? I don't think so.
I said it, and I thought it.
And thank you, coronavirus, for
And
moving
you was
it
talking
to-
about LeBron saying stuff he shouldn't have said, and there you were, like, why didn't they?
I said the right thing. I was just speaking for ESPN who weren't thinking the right thing, but yeah, my bad on that one. Next up, we have Bradley Beal and his girl. How do you say her name? Is it Kamaya? Kamaya. It is Kamaya. They joining the TikTok craze. Well, they've been on TikTok. At least Kamaya's been on TikTok. I don't know if you guys remember. We talked about it a while ago where they were trading Bradley Beal's video game time for him being on TikTok with her. Well, he must have been playing a lot of games because we got a TikTok of the two of them dancing. I need to know though, where does this rate on our post up TikTok watch on quarantine?
This is my favorite one.
Okay.
This is the best. You know I don't like TikTok, but like at least this is one. It's a couple. Both of them got rhythm. Both of them can dance.
Sauce.
Like
Sauce
thank
to it.
you.
Yeah,
Both
yeah,
of them got their little swag. Like one isn't outshining the other. They're doing it as a couple, and it's good. It's fun. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with this. This was my favorite one.
Yeah, I need my resident TikToker on to give her opinion. Please, Devin, go ahead.
Okay, I like this one. Wait, what'd you say?
I said brand ambassador for TikTok needs to
Yeah.
Yeah, I am the promo girl for TikTok. I do like their TikTok. Very cute. I think that I like watching Shea Gilgeous-Alexander dancing more. I think Matisse is doing really well with the cool transitions and really like taking advantage of the effects on TikTok, but they are cute and I like them, but I think I rank them third.
Some shout outs.
One though, the couple
one, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the best couple one.
Yeah.
But my favorite one is still the one with Zuri at the end of that one where she killed
yeah, that one was fire.
She killed it.
I was waiting for one of the James gang ones, but no, I give you that. That's still my favorite
That's
one.
That's a good family one. So Bradley Beal wins for the good couple one. Yep. LeBron has the family one on lock. And single ones, I'm still up. I know last place on the single one, it's Jason Tatum is last place.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I hope he deleted his account instantly after, man. I come on, bro. Like, anyways, I'm not gonna get started back on Jason Tatum. Now talking about baseball, talking about the Dodgers yesterday. Britt shared with us that she would have been at opening day, and it's so sad because then right after we see this picture of the Dodger Stadium parking lot, and it's being rented out by other car rental places. That it's all of them. It's not just like Enterprise. It's literally all of them that are using this space to put their cars to hold in, and that's crazy. You know, day after opening day, like that's insane. It's sad.
I saw the picture. I was like, wait, was there a game and I missed it? Like I saw all the cars in the parking lot, and I was like, what's happening?
Yeah,
and they were like, no, we're just overfilled with cars because no one's running cars right now, so we had to move them to Dodger Stadium.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a lot of cars.
Eerie, man. That's eerie.
Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at least.
Have you guys looked outside today? Smog is gone in Los Angeles. I will say that much.
Hey, I do want a pollution check. That's what I want.
Itself.
As they should. The earth is feeling itself. Mother Nature like, ooh, look at me today.
Earth is like, hey. Hey, girl, you see this? You see
Oh, my God. You're stupid. And last but not least, we got some Fanatics, a.k.a. Michael Rubin news. I kind of like this. I want to know what you guys have to say about it. But Michael Rubin also has some ownership with Fanatics in Philadelphia. And he put out a tweet saying, woke up in the middle of the night last week with the idea of converting our Fanatics factory in PA that makes official MLB jerseys into a facility that makes much needed masks and gowns, and then donating them to help fight the horrendous virus. Now, I think this is great, dope. Shout out to Michael Rubin. He's one of my few favorite owners. Was put on because of Meek Mill, because I didn't know too much about him, but I loved what he did for him and stuff like that. I'll be honest. But he also was in the middle of some flack that we talked about earlier this week. So do you think that this helps him out, or this is just like, okay, nice try. We know we still know your intent, buddy. How you guys feel about that?
I think it helps them out a little bit, just because it's a good thing. We talked about that yesterday, the hockey company that kind of transitioned and now they're making masks for hospital personnel too. And so I think, I don't think anyone's forgotten, but I definitely think it's a hash mark and okay, this is a good thing because it's definitely needed. I would love it if he actually made it so these doctors and nurses could put their team's logo on some of this stuff, because I think cool. that would be pretty dope. Yeah, but I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I think it's okay. However, you're not making money right now, so you're just using this as another reason to make money. So at the end of the day, it all comes back to the paycheck. So
correct.
Yeah.
Also, are these even hospital grade? Or I'm trying to do some research on my phone here to figure out if doctors and nurses could even use them, because I know they have to be a specific kind.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because I had a friend that she has a bikini company, and so she made a bunch of masks for whatever, but I'm like, yeah, but right now they can't use those. They have to be the N95 ones or whatever, some super high-tech ones that I'm sure even a lot of doctors aren't getting, so I don't know.
At least I would hope. I'm sure they would look into that before going into development of doing all that stuff, but that's a great question.
Before they just go on social media and do a post.
Right, with him in the stuff.
I've seen a lot of people say, we're hand knitting masks, and I think that the intention is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't think it's going to do anything. What we need is for people to stop wearing hospital-grade masks and gloves and everything.
Yeah.
The gowns, yes, but the masks, they can't use those anyway. So
right.
That's it from me on the post up.
All right, WTF.
All right, so WTF. So first of all, if you guys have some time, you just want to laugh, I highly recommend you checking out Dr. Anthony. I think his last name is Fucci, something like that. But anyway, check him out every time he's standing next to the president and the president says something crazy, because this man is meme worthy nonetheless. But
yes.
Yes. Full on face plants. It's great. But nonetheless, he is a real doctor. Not a lot of these fake doctors that I'm seeing all over IG with the conspiracy theories. But Steph got an opportunity to ask him during an IG live when he thought we would get back to sports. I don't think his answer says anytime soon, basically, but let's check it out.
China, but they're on the other end of the curve. Korea is doing that. They're starting to come back down. Europe, particularly Italy, is in a terrible situation. They're still going way up. The United States is a big country. We have so many different regions. Like New York City right now is having a terrible time, and yet there are places in the country that are doing really quite well. You could probably identify people, contact trace, and get them out of circulation. Whereas in New York City, it's doing what's called mitigation, trying to prevent as best you can the spread. So in direct answer to your question, we can start thinking about getting back to some degree of normality when the country as a whole is turn that corner and start coming down. Then you could pinpoint cases much more easily than getting overwhelmed by cases, which is what's going on in New York City.
Okay.
So basically, he's saying if people do what they're supposed to do, we can go to the other side of that curve. But I live in Hollywood, and I can tell you right now, we ain't doing what we're supposed to do. So I don't know. Is this a good sign? I took it as a horrible sign. I took it as we really are relying on our fellow man to get the hint. So that means it's probably going to take a long time. What did you guys take out of that?
Well, I feel like go ahead, Chris.
No. My answer is yes. The fact that we have to rely on fellow men, that's unfortunately, and I don't mean it sometimes because I'm a very positive guy, but at the same time, that's a very tough gamble, and we're seeing that right now, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like because obviously, as far as we're seeing from now, the NBA is looking to not have fans there anyway. So I think if the players are relying on each other and they're staying quarantined, and like we said, Rudy and Donovan and Marcus and Chris are already coming on times where they're already getting cleared to play again or getting cleared of the coronavirus or whatever the case is. I think that they could start back up again, so I think they're just relying on the NBA right now. The fans probably don't have anything to do with it as far as getting the NBA restarted again. So I think as long as the NBA players maybe stay quarantined, we can see the NBA sooner, which is like a little bit of positive because from what we've all seen, we've kind of seen them just staying in the house and whatever, taking whatever measures they can. Even Steph just doing a video to just get all the actual questions answered from an actual doctor instead of, like Jackie said, listening to all these people on social media who really don't know what they're talking about. I think that's a good step in the right direction for the athletes, just to, okay, here's what it is, this is what we're doing, we're all staying quarantined so we can at least start basketball back up. As far as us getting out of the house, that's probably going to take a little longer.
Right.
Yeah, I do think it's a little stressful to be relying on the entire world, all of us normal people, to be the ones to flatten the curve, because as we've seen, there were spring breakers partying in Florida with no regard to the outbreak going on. But I think that, what he says is a little bit disheartening. I do want to applaud Steph for taking the time to do this live for everybody. I think it was a really good idea and helpful to so many people.
Yep. So next up, I have LeBron James again. So excited about this whole entire podcast. But on the Road Tripping podcast, he said a lot of things. Some of the things we've already said we don't agree with. But I still agree with him that we shouldn't just immediately go into the playoffs. There's a 6-game difference between Orlando and the Wizards in the East. But Portland is only 3 games out, and the Pelicans and Kings are 4 games out in the West. So I would love to see something. I would love to see them have an opportunity. And King James agrees with me. On the podcast, he said one thing you can't just do is go straight to the playoffs because it discredits the 60-plus games that guys have been fighting for that position. So they did come up with a kind of cool scenario that I love. He says teams currently seated in the number 8 through 11 spots in the Western Conference should play each other in a mini play-in tournament, while the number 1 through 7 seeds play the teams at the bottom just to kind of tune up their games. So I love this idea. What do you guys think of that?
That's an option.
Yep. Chris is just nodding.
Oh yeah, I've been preaching. I thought someone was gonna talk, so I was just waiting. But yeah, no, I've been preaching that. I'm all for it. I think they should. But again, mine's for more selfish reasons. But yeah, they should do that for sure for playoff reasons. Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, and I think that this is kind of the model or the plan that they will have once they are ready to resume the season. I really don't feel that they're going to jump right into playoffs. I just don't see that happening. I mean, do you guys see that happening?
I don't see it happening, but at the same time, I think that what this virus has taught me is just go day by day.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't know what's coming next.
Especially with the MLB coming out and saying their team has to play, or their guys have to play and do exhibition games for at least a month before they go to opening
Oh, Devin.
All right. Sorry, you guys, we froze a little bit. Sometimes technical difficulties happen, but we're back up and running, and we're going to be jumping into Brit's takes. So I hope you're all ready. Let's get into it.
Yes, guys. The disrespect. Y'all try to cut me off before I had to talk. Internet, YouTube, I'm coming for y'all next time, okay? Next time I'm going to do a Brit's takes on YouTube, okay? About YouTube. All right, so Brit's takes today. So obviously we have had tons of free agents that have been signed so far during this NFL offseason, but there is one we are all still a little perplexed about. Jameis Winston, he hasn't even been rumored really to go anywhere by any actual person in the league or associated with the league. It's kind of just been fans that have looked around and said, "Hey, where's Jameis Winston at? What's happening with him?" We've kind of started all these rumors of where we think he should go, where we would want him to go. There's a few questions that people are wondering, is it because he can't be trusted as a quarterback? Is it because he's asking for too much money? And is he willing to be a backup? Those are all questions we have as maybe why he hasn't been signed just yet. I have a couple options that I think are sure-ins for Jameis Winston moving forward. And as far as football is concerned, because I will be talking about something else in just a moment, but I think the best option for him, which hasn't been really discussed a lot, is him as the backup for the Saints. Now, I know Jackie and Chris might have a little something to say about this. I'll let you guys get into it in just a minute, but I kind of wanted to give my argument on why I think this is perfect for him. He would play under Drew Brees, who is already 41, so let's not forget where Teddy Bridgewater was just a few seasons ago. He was starting with the Vikings, doing great, and then he kind of started tanking. He got injured. He was out for a little bit. Came back, got traded to the Jets, and then immediately from there got traded to the Saints. So he didn't even play with the Jets at all, or he signed with the Jets. Sorry, he didn't get traded. He got cut from the Vikings, and then he signed with the Jets, but then got traded to the Saints before season started. That was in 2018. He spent a year just working with Sean Payton and as Drew Brees' backup. And then this past season, obviously when Drew goes down and gets injured, we all see this new and improved Teddy Bridgewater that was playing amazing football. And now he goes in and signs with the Panthers for a 3-year, $63 million deal. So I think Jameis could follow in kind of a similar path. He would be a backup, obviously, to Drew Brees. He would get all of that knowledge and stuff that he brings and that Sean Payton brings. Plus, there's no pressure on him to be great. If Drew Brees happens to get injured, then he could step in and we can see what he could do from there. But there's actually no pressure on him to go in a starting spot where he has to run a team, which I don't think he's ready to do right now. I think he hasn't, since he came out into the league, he's never really had a place where he could learn from anybody, to be honest, and then even when he first started with the Bucks, and I think Raheem Morris was the coach. He was a 1-year coach, left immediately after that, and they've kind of had some issues with that. So I think this is a perfect place for him. I don't think the Saints want to focus on Taysom Hill as their backup because I think they want to utilize him in other ways. And if Jameis does get to go in and play, he gets guys like Michael Thomas and now Emmanuel Sanders that he can throw to. So this is a perfect way to have him get back into the NFL and then possibly have the same kind of success that Teddy Bridgewater did coming in as a backup for Drew Brees. There is also another huge option that I want to talk about that nobody is discussing. I believe if Jameis Winston does not have a job by the beginning of the season this year, he will retire from the NFL and Tim Tebow everybody. You guys forgot, Jameis Winston specifically decided to go to Florida State because they were going to allow him to play football and baseball. He is a great baseball player. He was a great outfielder. He also pitched too. He was a great player. His freshman year, he was named an All-American for baseball. He's a great baseball player. I don't want him to have the same issues that you guys, I know a lot of you guys might not remember, but E.J. Manuel was the senior quarterback. He was the senior when Jameis came in his rookie year for Florida State. E.J. Manuel was drafted, had a couple seasons with the Bills, and then kind of fell off the map. He went to the Raiders and then went to Kansas City, and then obviously when Kansas City got Patrick Mahomes, he was like, oh, I guess I'm getting cut, and sure enough did, and we haven't seen him since. And I don't want the same thing to happen to Jameis. I think Jameis ended up being a better quarterback for Florida State than E.J. Manuel even was. And I really liked E.J. Manuel coming into the NFL, and look how it turned out for him. So I don't want the same thing to happen. So if he does go to stay playing football, I think the Saints is the perfect place for him to go. I don't think Big Ben is going to put him under his wing like Drew Brees would. Big Ben has never been that guy. He doesn't like helping out his backup quarterbacks. He's never been that guy. I don't think that's a good situation for him to be placed in. I think he's only 26 years old. He either decides to be Drew Brees' backup and kind of starts from the beginning again, or he retires from the NFL and tries to see what he can do in baseball. Like, he's not a Kyler Murray. He's not going to jump in and be this all-star baseball player like Kyler could at this moment. But I do feel like he could make an impact and have a great baseball career. He's only 26. A lot of guys still are coming from the minors going to the majors at that time. So he could still have a lot of baseball ahead of him. And I think that's his next best bet if he is not signed by season's beginning. What do you guys think?
You want to go first, Jackie? Because I'm ready.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm going to go first because I know you're going to get it.
I'm ready.
I thought he also said that at some point he wanted to be a two-sports athlete, and he wanted to play both football and baseball. So I definitely don't think retiring from the NFL is on his agenda at all. I think that as far as being a backup, the best place for him to do that would be our Saints. Because I do think, like you said, Drew just seems like a caring guy. Like, he just gives a damn, and he would see this young guy and give him pointers here and there. And not that you wish anything on Drew, but he's older. He's going to start getting more injuries now. We've seen that.
Stop.
You act like I'm saying something that's like putting it in the atmosphere.
Don't speak it out, man. You see how powerful LeVar is. Don't speak it out into the world. All right, come on now.
Well, damn. If I got that kind of skills, I'm speaking to existence $1 million right now. But but what I'm saying is, I just think that he's going to have more opportunities, and it's going to work out better for him. Obviously, those 33 touchdowns are a beautiful thing. It's those 30 interceptions that we got to work on, and I just think that being in New Orleans is going to be a good thing for him. I think he would be accepted, but I definitely don't think retiring is on his agenda. What do you think, Chris?
Ooh, I'm ready. All right, so yesterday I was going in. First of all, Britt, love both takes. Great takes. All right, so yesterday I was just talking about the other way. I was saying that the Saints should look at Cam and have him be the backup. And if we have a good season, then, those 2 games we play the Panthers, Drew could be like, my pinky hurts. And let Cam go in there with the offensive line and go and just tear up the Panthers for 2 games. I thought that would have been great. But now with this Jameis Winston news, I'm all for it. I love the idea. I still believe he can be a starter somewhere. What you said about Ben is true. I was completely saying that, Mike Tomlin would give him a chance to overtake.
Great, yeah.
Right, and I would think that he would give him a chance to even overtake Ben in a situation if they're losing games and stuff like that. But in a situation, if he does not find a starting team, yes, I 100% agree that the Saints would be one of the best places because Drew signed off for 2 years. If he wants to do the Teddy Bridgewater route, come in for a year, see what happens. If there's an injury that comes again with Drew Brees, Jackie already put it out there. So if it happens, put it on Jackie, not me. Then Jameis Winston can go in and he'll play. And like Britt said, not only does he have receivers to go through and Alvin Kamara in the back, this will be the first time in his entire career that he has an offensive line that will protect him. And then I feel like, and then another thing too, and I wouldn't say it when he was a Buccaneer, but now that, he's probably not going to be there, I'm going to defend him a little bit. A lot of those interceptions he threw were not really his fault. And I would never say that with him in the Buccaneers jersey, but now he's not. A lot of them weren't his fault. A lot of them, there's highlights of them going through other players' hands. There's players not going after the ball, not defend. Like, there's a lot of situations. Mind you, a lot of them still are his fault, but still, I feel like if he's protected, then we might see a different brand of Jameis Winston. So I love the idea. I'm all for it. If Mike's not making the call, Sean, I know you feeling a little bit better. Glad to hear that. But talk to your boy Mickey Loomis and see if we can work something out. See if we can make that happen.
What do you think about the baseball?
I don't think he would. I think with the Saints too. I think that could. I don't know if it would happen. I feel like that could coincide, to be honest, with both takes. I feel like because he would be a backup, that would give him that freedom to then do what Jackie said and do both. Because he did say that. That's one thing he's always said he wants to do.
NFL level, currently you can't do both because the season for baseball goes into October. So you would be playing. You can't play baseball and yeah, if obviously if randomly seasons change, this could benefit him to be able to do both.
Work out right.
In college, he was able to do that because the college baseball season ends extremely early. It ends in May, I believe.
Yeah.
So, like, you're getting put into a situation where you can then, now you have the whole summer off. You're just playing literally from January to May, and then you're done, and then you go into football season starting in June. So, in June to January. So,
I don't know if he would retire, though. I mean, the Tim Tebow thing, I feel like it was different instance because Tim Tebow was out of shots and he wasn't right. He wasn't great. So I don't know if he would go that route, but I don't think that I like that you brought that into light because I don't think that that's something we should forget about because I could see that situation being something that, you know, he might start considering while still looking at other teams, whether if he ends up becoming a backup and if it's not the Saints or someone else that, you know, in the off seasons and stuff like that, he's looking into making that shift. But I'm not against it. I'm just you had me on that Saints thing. I'm like, yeah, man, and do the same thing, just vice versa. When you're playing Tom Brady, I know I want to see Drew Brees versus Tom Brady, but you got to give him that first game. It would be like Drew Brees like my wrist today, I can't do it. Jameis, how you feeling? Jameis Brady, go out there and put up 500, do something crazy. 500 with 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's fine. I'll take it as long as we win.
Right.
I want to jump in because I know we're running low on time, but Jackie, you had some news that you want to share really quickly?
I do. Really quickly, sorry. We just wanted to send some prayers to Doris Burke. She reveals that she has tested positive for the coronavirus. I definitely want to send prayers to her because I love her, but at the same time, where are y'all getting these tests from that we just can't get? Where are they getting these tests from?
Somebody check on Drake.
In the house. Right.
Check on Drake.
But Doris, you know, we love you, Doris, and take care of yourself and stay in the house in quarantine. I don't know, does she live with anyone? Like, I feel like her family's always with her.
Yeah. She's I don't know if she's married, but I know she has kids because I remember when Drake asked her on a date, she was like, my kids were like, go on a date with them. So
right. Yeah. So Alex King said, "Who is she?" So Alex, I take it you don't watch a lot of basketball, but she is she is a sideline reporter. Side court reporter, I guess, for the NBA. Is one of my favorites. She's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, sending love and well wishes to Doris. Hopefully she recovers quickly and smoothly like we've seen some people. So, yeah, lots of love going to her. That wraps up our news show for the day, you guys. We're going to be back with our live show on Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but make sure you keep an eye out for Weekend Zone, which is coming out this weekend. Of course, that's our Weekend Zone. But, yeah, we'll be back Monday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you then. Bye, guys.
Bye. Oh, wait, I forgot the handshake.
Oh, no.
Didn't even get it.